Celtics Beat, brought to you by Ice Picks.
We're back. Welcome in, everybody. It is Celtics Beat, and this is starting to look and feel familiar, isn't it? We love to have you here. Evan Valenti, I'm Adam Kaufman, and of course, our guest of the day, Dan Greenberg, Barstool Sports, Stool Greeny, you know him out there, a regular on the program. And guys, before I even introduce you, I would like to read a series of tweets. The first one comes from Sean Grandy, the longtime play-by-play voice of the team. After last night's throttling of the, albeit very shorthanded, Los Angeles Lakers, which was
not my problem,
win, not our problem. No, wins are wins are wins. You played it. We've been saying it with the Patriots all year long. You play the games on your schedule. The Celtics go out back-to-back because that win came on the heels, not 24 hours after a 45-point blowout of the Wizards. Again, terrible team, arguably the worst in all of basketball. Grandy tweets, in the last 11 games, the Celtics at 9-2 not only have the NBA's number one offense, it's at a video game level. The 24 champion Celtics hold the NBA offense record, 122.2 points per 100 possessions. NBA ranks in this span for these Celtics, 122.9. That is second. 51% shooting, third. 41% from three, second. 17.2 three-point field goals per game. Made, by the way. That is first. From our guest, Dan Greenberg. The Boston Celtics are tied for the most wins versus teams 500 or better in the NBA. They are the most wire-to-wire wins in the NBA. The most 40-point wins in the NBA. Tied for the most 30-point wins in the NBA. And second most 20-point wins in the NBA. I will give you one more, courtesy of Adam Kaufman. After the game last night, I tweeted, whispers. The Celtics are actually very good and need to make a move in season for a legit big for the rotation because Jason Tatum is coming and this team will contend in the East. Well, boys, as we sit here, the Boston Celtics are now tied for fourth place in the Eastern Conference. I had them as a top 4 seed coming into the year. I don't know what everyone's problem was out there. I don't know how many times we talked about this on this show. For months, we do the show every week, guys. It's free. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Watch the video with all of our great guests available to you on the CLNS YouTube page, the All Access page. It's out there. We told you, we asked all of our guests, what are the expectations for this team? And every single time we said, have you seen the East? Have you seen the East? Have you seen the East? Oh, also, are the Celtics, despite all of these moves, really that bad? Cellar dweller? Tank kind of year? No, sir. The Celtics, 14-9 with this recent run. They are a game and a half out of second place behind the Knicks. They are 4 games out of first behind the rapidly cooling down Detroit Pistons, who have still, in fairness, won 7 out of 10.
Lost to you, though.
Lost to us.
I was going to say, both
Royal week.
Beaten recently.
Yeah.
For anyone out there, and I probably talked to you, Greeny, about it. I sure as hell talked to Ev about it. For all the people out there that got upset with me when I was all sorts of butthurt about losing to the Jazz, losing to the Nets, talking about throwing away opportunities because you are better than this. Don't just, there's no like win-win. If you win, you win. That's great. If you lose, you win because it's good for the draft pick. No, I got pissed every single time. I cared way too much.
I mean, that is true, though. That is true, though.
That is true. Why, Greeny, is because this team, and you know it, despite you've been on and you talked about the levels of what this season could look like. Is it 25 wins, year one under Brad Stevens? Is it Isaiah Thomas, peak with the Celtics where, you can be a whatever, like low,
like mid 40s,
kind of win team, but you're not a serious contender. You're just fun regular season. Or is this team really potentially actually very good? Now, I would say 1 is out the window, and right now we're between 2 and 3. We're between 2 and 3. Is this just a fun regular season, or is this a team that can actually contend? Now we know, and this is where I will end my ramble and I will go right to you. Now we know this team has to act. It can't sit on its hands. It's good enough, as we expect every week. There's a Jason Tatum is coming back this season tweet from somebody that all started with Tatum himself. So shame on you guys for trying to break this news and take credit for this nonsense. When Tatum himself has said, basically, if you read between the lines, he's coming back this year. So we all know Tatum's coming back this year at some point in time. What's he going to look like? How long is he going to be available? All these things we don't know. We'll see. We know he's coming back. Knowing that and knowing what Kata has given you as a more than serviceable big, a top 10 center probably in the NBA right now. You know, top 5 in the Eastern Conference the way that he is going right now. But you got nothing else around him at center. Nothing that you trust, nothing you feel even remotely good about. You need to go out and add a big. Can this team, Greeny, am I right in reading all of this? Is this team good enough to where it would be unforgivable that it sit on its hands sometime between now and the trade deadline and just say, okay, maybe Tatum comes back sometime, but he's not going to be his old self. Doesn't matter. This team isn't actually going anywhere, and it kind of settles for that NBA purgatory that we all don't want to be in.
I just think whenever you are in a position like this, you have to remember that center has to be available on the market, right? So who is that guy that they're going to be able to go out and get? Is it, I mean, the bigger thing is, I just think we were wondering, once they get to February, are they getting under the luxury tax? What is their record will dictate, I think, where they go. I think at this point, you need to say, this is not a year to get under the tax and start your reset, right? At the very least, you need to stay. You can trade Simons, maybe his money, for a lesser salaried big that gets you under the first apron, but still fills your need. I think what we've seen eliminated is pure salary dumps just to get under the number to reset the luxury tax. Not even, and that would be true even if Tatum wasn't coming back, because like you said, they're right there. They're a position away from potentially, having a foundation to make a run, which is why I want to amend my season comp to previous Celtic years. Because of what we've seen from Jordan Walsh, are we looking at the 2017-2018 Celtics where Gordon Hayward gets hurt, Jason Tatum gets hurt, Jordan Walsh now gets his opportunity the same way Jason Tatum got his opportunity? That team
so Kyrie Irving got hurt.
No, when Gordon Hayward broke his leg.
Right. He got hurt, but you said, and then Jason Tatum got hurt. Tatum didn't get hurt. Irving got hurt.
Well, yeah, but you never knew. Like, I think Hayward at the wing getting hurt is what allowed Tatum to, have a bigger role
100%.
with that team.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
So we're now seeing that with Jordan Walsh. He's like a baby Tatum when you watch him play. So are we looking at a team that, as rookies, weren't really contenders, right? Like they weren't picked to, beat the Cavs and contend, but they won 55 games and they made the Eastern Conference Finals. Is that on the table? If Tatum comes back, they add a big this year, you look around the conference and you say, we're built to take down any of these teams. So I think we're leaning more towards the 17-18 Celtics than the Isaiah Celtics, where it was one all-NBA player and then a bunch of tryhards. Now you essentially have two all-NBA players back in a conference that, again, the Celtics have a plus 6.6 point differential, which is the second in the conference. They're arguably the second best team in the East as it stands today. It's just like, this is it. They're doing it, and they're almost forcing Brad's hand to say, sorry, Billy Chisholm, you need to cut a luxury tax check because, we cannot punt on this season given how well they're playing. But it's early, right? Like February is a long ways away. They could get hurt, they could slide, and then, the entire season is fluid based on, how they perform. There should be no set in stone path in December. Let's see where they are in February, but the way you are thinking is how they seem to be trending.
Ev, I think Greeny brought this up, and we don't know. We don't have an answer to it, but it's the question of who's available, right? Who could you acquire? What would it take to do that? I think everybody naturally goes back to you give up the Anthony Simons expiring contract. Do you have to attach draft pick compensation to it? Is there a world, by the way, and I don't really think this is going to happen, if Giannis is traded, not to Boston, obviously, but if he is traded, can you do the old Danny Ainge special and slide in as a third team, help facilitate a deal? You get off of Simon's contract without attaching compensation to it, and maybe from one of these teams, you can even get a big coming back your way, and you do it that way. And that's if Giannis is even dealt in season. I think that injury, knowing that it's a non-contact strained calf, could miss a month, maybe more, is the Achilles to follow, as we've seen so many times in the NBA. Like, this could really sideline the trajectory of that possible deal before, let's say, the offseason. So taking it off the board, but just worthy of mention, obviously. Then you go back to all of these articles. And I will, this is important to remember. These are not from like Shams, Haynes, all these other reputable national NBA reporters, certainly nobody local either, Washburn, Himmelsbach, and so on. This is like clutch points and aggregator sites out there that are just Bleacher Report that's trying to what could make sense, all that. But you're seeing names like Claxton, Zubats, our boy Seth in the group chat is throwing out all sorts of names that, guys that theoretically could be available. Again, the word is theoretically. We don't know. Nothing substantial has been attached to any of these guys. That said, is there someone that either of you, Ev, I'll start with you and then we'll get Greeny. Is there a guy, who do you want that you realistically think could be out there and is attainable without obviously hurting yourself in the process roster-wise?
Well, we talked about the white whale. My white whale is obviously Zubac out in the Clipper land. It would, obviously you need to have a couple of things happen for the Clippers to do this massive sell-off. I don't know if that's even going to really happen, so I'm not really certainly entertaining any of that. But the Brooklyn Nets, who are going nowhere, for Nick Claxton, I feel like you could talk to them at least and be like, hey, you guys aren't doing anything. What's the point of having your team, especially if you're going to end up getting Carlos Boozer anyway? What's the point of having this guy on your team? You're not going to contend for a while. I'm sure there's a way to entice them to maybe think about trading Nick Claxton around. But the thing about Brad Stevens is every single week it's like more proof of concept. It's just whatever these guys seem to think is necessary seems to work. So just let them figure it out. I was thinking about this last night. I should say Friday night. Like watching Jordan Walsh and Josh Minot and Hugo Gonzalez and Baylor Shire and all these guys just contribute to winning. It's just everything that Brad seems to think is necessary seems to work out really well. So I would love a Nick Claxton that would be spectacular. A guy that you could slide in, is going to be, arguably your best rim protector on the team as soon as he walks into it. A good screener, good, pick and dive guy, great lob threat, obviously great energy. You're not going to need, he's going to be a guy that's going to fit right in and a guy that's probably hungry to win some basketball games. But in Zubac as well, I freaking love that guy. As I said the other day, if you had Tatum and Zubac, nobody's getting a rebound ever, ever with those two guys around the basket. But at the end of the day, it's almost like whoever they think's the best guy they can go out and get. I'm sure there's a guy we're not thinking of that's on a team somewhere, on the Charlotte Hornets or something that we're not thinking about that could be obtained and would fit right in. It would be perfect. The question I think, Greeny, for me would be, does that guy have to shoot threes or not? Because I almost don't think they have to. I think the way they're playing right now, with a guy that in Keita that doesn't really space the floor, they're still one of the best offensive teams in the league. So the Al Horfords, the Kristaps Porzingises that we're used to, I don't think that's necessary. I think they can go another direction.
Especially if Tatum is coming back, right? He's a 6'10" power forward who shoots threes. Sure. So it's that box is checked. But I will tell you why this gets so complicated is you have to remember the salary restrictions. The Clippers are hard capped at the first apron. They can only take in $18 million in salary in any trade. So if you're looking at Zubac, he makes around 18. Simons makes around 27. it's not just 18 minus 27 math. Oh, they would be over because he makes 27 million. They can't just take like a Simons and picks for Zubac, which means they need to add around 10 more million in salary to the trade for the Celtics to take back in. When you look at their salary sheet, that's like Dennis Jones Jr., who is guaranteed for 10 million this year and guaranteed for 10 million next year. So then the question becomes, if you want to do that deal, are the Celtics open to taking on future guaranteed money, or can you find a third team to take, DJJ because you don't want that extra year at 10 million? So that's what makes these trades so hard, is like the salary restrictions that other teams have to abide by. So someone like Claxton, where the Nets have the cap space to just absorb Simon's deal, you can bring in Claxton. Maybe you have to overpay to convince them to do it, throw some swaps in there, whatever, because he's signed for 2 or 3 more years, but his salary decreases, I think, each of those. So that's a valuable asset for you as a team that has to start worrying about, the number crunch. So these guys all fit in theory. It's just, we don't know if Brad's allowed to tack on future money after this year. Does he have to only be looking at expiring big men? Does he, have to look at future money, but under a certain dollar amount because of how so I'm with you on the position of need. I'm with you on the players. It's just so complicated to figure out how to thread that needle, especially when you think sooner or later they have to reset their repeater tax. Well, how are you doing that if you're adding, $30-40 million of future money every year and not breaking off your core pieces? It's a math problem. It's just impossible.
Some other names that our buddy was throwing out, we don't need to talk about them. I just want to mention them because if anything comes to fruition, it's a way of giving him credit. And if it doesn't, it was pure speculation and meaningless. Kind of a win-win for us. Nurkic, mentioned him.
No, I'm out on Nurk. No, thank you.
We mentioned Vooch, obviously. Would the Magic trade Goga, he writes. Would the Pelicans move Looney? Another guy is Santi Aldama. What's Memphis planning this season? If Giannis is dealt somewhere, is there a way to get Miles Turner?
No, thank you.
Some of these different things that he had thrown out there, among others.
Some good ones in there.
But Miles Turner in the finals, not like his team played better without him on the floor. So I'm good with that.
Yeah.
But I think that list shows you the range, right? Like Goga in Orlando isn't a big name, but he would be a serviceable reserve big man. Mm-hmm. That's very different from a Zubac type player.
Sure.
Both from what you're getting and what it would cost. But then again, like the Magic are contending. So why are they gonna help you? So it's just, I don't know if you can just say, oh, our reserve big is going to be Amari Williams in spot minutes here and there.
And I would love that, but how could you possibly depend on that right now?
Yeah, you can't. So it's tough because I do think they're going to look to flip Simon's 27 million. It's just who can take it, and then how are you going to be able, like, I don't know if I want to unload it for a bad player. Like, you see trades all around, floating around that talk about the Celtics taking back Terrence Mann's contract. I don't want to do that at all. He has 31 million guaranteed for the next 3 years. Like, you can't give, 16, 17 million of your cap space to Terrence Mann on this roster. So it's like, I don't know. It's just going to be fascinating to see where it ends up because they're not really operating in a position of leverage. And when you're not operating with leverage, you tend to kind of get it through both ends in the trade. And that hasn't happened to Brad Stevens yet in any move that he's made. So this could be the first time where he has to like slightly overpay or like lose a trade by taking on a bad asset because their opportunity is so wide open if they continue to play like this.
Let's take a break, tell you about our good friends over at Prize Picks. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. It's the holiday season, the best time of the year for sports, bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes. It's all happening at once. And while you and I are out making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, what game to watch, who's going to be the next guest on Celtics Beat, there's one place where it feels good to be right. Prize Picks, Ev.
Yeah, Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Join 10 million users, over 10 million, and sign up today. Prize Picks. Folks, talk about it all the time. It is a Saturday as we record this. I always mention the Friday flex play. So we're going to do a little flex play here on Saturday, which means you can still cash out. You can win your money back even if your lineup isn't perfect. Trust me. The last 2 weeks, flex play has saved my ass. Once again. Oh, man, it's been a real frustrating past couple weeks because last week it was RJ Harvey that screwed me out of going 3 for 3. But for this week, Kaufman, here's where we're at. Miles Garrett is having a heck of a season. Defensive player of the year, I think, no question about it.
Record
I'm going Miles Garrett more than 1.25 sacks versus the Titans.
Okay.
We're going to go Jackson Smith and Jigba more than 0.5 touchdowns versus the Falcons.
All right.
And Cam, last leg of this thing, Cam Little and Blake Groupie. Either one of them's got to hit a field goal more than 49.5 yards. I don't know if you knew this, but Cam Little hit a 70-yarder in preseason. So
he's decent.
So, as we know, flex play, if I hit all three, I 3x my money. If I hit 2 out of 3, I still get my money back, which is a win for me. And Prize Picks now has early payouts. You can line up off to a hot start, and you hit all 3 of them very quickly. You can cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. Kaufman, it's the best.
Prize Picks, as have said, easy payouts. Lineup gets off to a hot start. You can cash out. Just enjoy the money. Get your money. It could not be any easier. In as little as 15 minutes, you can watch that money roll into your account. Prize Picks even uses Venmo. Literally nothing easier than that. So download the app today. Use code CLNS. You get $50 in lineups after playing your first for only $5. Again, download the Prize Picks app. Do it today. Do it right after you listen to this show. The promo code CLNS. You get $50 in lineups after playing your first for only $5. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Greeny, let's go back to this trade conversation for a minute. And, obviously we talked about the big side of it. And I would love for there to be a real substantial rumor from someone of note that we can react to. But I guess we're going to have to settle for waiting on that. As far as the Anthony Simons side of things goes, and he's someone that, as people know, I was very high on going into the year. I thought that he was going to have a real role with this team. I was putting him in, pipe dreams, like 6-man of the year conversation, knowing that like his volume ability as a shooter, the 3-point style offense, I really thought he could thrive in Mazzulla ball. And, truly it's just the opportunity has been very inconsistent, largely because, as we know, came in with this reputation. Defensively, he's a sieve. So offensively, he is, there's been a ceiling as to what he's been able to give you. And that's, it is what it is. And I just, unless I'm wrong, I don't think it's going to change. So if we operate based on that, and all of these rumors or reports or columns or whatever that people want to pen about Simons being dealt, there's no secret. The Celtics are at this point, like, it's not like they're bringing him back next year, signing him on the cheap. I mean, this will be a one and done for Simons, whether he makes it through the year or whether he's gone by the trade deadline, I think. And so that in mind, there's been, discourse around, do you have to attach something to get off of that contract? And, I was in terms of a first round pick, like second rounders. That's
you shouldn't. I mean, yeah, he's expiring, so.
Yeah, well, it depends what you're getting in return, right? If you're getting, nothing super special, then I agree with you. If you're trying to get a real player, you might need to. And so ultimately, I guess what I'm wondering is, are you willing? And I will, remind people out there that if the Celtics are who they're supposed to be, who they want to be, first round picks are late first round picks. If you're dealing your own, not one that you acquired somewhere else. They're, mid to late 20s. They're crapshoot kind of picks. You're nowhere near the lottery. Doesn't mean it's not still more valuable than a second round pick, but there's no guarantee those guys turn into anything. And also, in this Brad Stevens era, and I'm not even talking about him in this role. I'm just him being around, because some of this does go back to Danny Ainge, obviously. Celtics, it's not like they've been flush with first round picks. You go back to, they had a couple in the year 2020 when they took Neesmith and Pritchard, and Desmond Bain but traded them away immediately. Since then, a second rounder in 21, a second rounder in 22, a second rounder in 23, and then 24 and 25, you did have one of each. Those were Shireman, of course, and Ugo. And jury's out on both those guys. I'm not going to evaluate whether those are hits or misses this young, not 50 games into Shireman's career and not 20 into Ugo's.
Nah, Ugo's a hit. Nah, I've seen enough. Ugo's a hit. Nah, he's a hit.
Fine, great. I hope he is. But my point is, they haven't had a whole lot of first round picks. So are you willing to deal one to get off of Simon's deal if it means you're getting something in return that you're excited about?
See, I looked at like Drew Holiday's deal as something you have to attach to get off of, right? And they did, to some degree, they had to throw in some seconds and they had to take back Simon's contract. If you're going to trade him for someone like Zubac, let's just say he's part of that package, that means the Clippers are rebuilding. Sure. So for a rebuilding team, your overpay is more for the player that you are getting, but then also to convince them as a rebuilding team, like they want assets. So even though Simons would be involved in that, let's say you have to give up 2 first-round picks for a player like that, I don't see that as giving up picks to get off Simons. If they trade Simons and, only take back a TPE, like don't get anything in return, yeah, that would be attaching a pick to sell off a contract. But the fact that he's an expiring deal has value. Like, forget what he gives you as a player. If you're a team and you want to maybe have cap space to spend this summer and you're not really going anywhere, you want an expiring $27 million deal just for the salary slot. So I think it's more of what their mandate is. If they have to get under the luxury tax, they are not operating in a position of leverage. Other teams know that. Maybe you have to add in a pick to entice them. Maybe it's not a first round pick, but a conditional second, what have you. But overall, as him being like the main money in a deal, I don't think his contract situation warrants you to have to attach picks to get off it. Because if he had, 1 or 2 more years left at this number, sure. But as an expiring, that has value to teams all across the league, especially if it happens in February. You're only paying him what, like half of that, 12 more of the 27. Like, he's already made the majority of that money. I think it'll be easier to flip, as opposed to, it was kind of a prayer that they were able to offload Drew, considering he had 3-4 more years left at like 35, 36 million plus. That is a harder contract to move.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. We don't know who's going to be dealing yet. I think it's just we're a little too close. Everybody's too congested together to know that the Washingtons, the Brooklyns, the teams that are absolutely terrible, like those guys are obviously going to be trade partners potentially down the road. There are other teams that are still in the mix that might get more involved as we get closer to February here. And we know Brad usually likes to strike a little bit earlier, like before people have the opportunity to really look around and pillage and find some guys. So,
you got a few more. Sac, New Orleans.
Yeah, but does Sacramento have anybody you want other than like Sabonis? Like,
I would love Sabonis, but I hear what you're saying. Charlotte,
New Orleans.
What about Jones, I would love for them to try to steal Messi from the Pelicans. 7-foot young center. They have so many bigs on that team.
Maybe that's what I'm talking about right there. See, that's the stuff where you're looking around and you don't even think that he's a trade target. Then here comes Brad Stevens. Hey, we'll give you a little something for this guy. And then he comes in and he's awesome. That's the kind of move I'm talking about. And
he's a low salary guy. Like, I think that is who could be your next Luke Cornett.
Yeah. I mean, look at the entire roster right now. They're full of guys, Walsh, who's making what 2 point something, not making 2 points. Like that's what the secret sauce of the Celtics season that has made things so awesome is the fact that the guys they have these minimum contracts are actually hitting and outperforming what their numbers are.
They have legitimately, I think it's, if you consider Ugo also, it's like three to four legitimate rotation players for a combined 10 million. This was
That's
it. That
huge.
was the goal of this season.
That's what contending teams need to have.
Yeah, especially like that was, we were hoping one or two of these young guys would be a playable piece. They've all been playable. So it's like, I can't see them. I just really struggle to see how they add like a $25 to $30 million player, especially at the big position. The names aren't even there at that salary range. I think it's much more likely a Day'Ron Sharp from the Nets, a Messi from the Pelicans, someone that like, you know, your average fan may have zero idea of, but makes, I don't know, 4 to 6 million a year. That could also take Simon's deal to help you. Like if you can flip him, get under the luxury tax, but still address your need, that is like the very definition of a grand slam. You just need to find out who that partner is going to be.
I just can't believe we've gone 36 minutes in this podcast. We haven't mentioned how awesome Jordan Walsh is right now. Because like this is honestly been the storyline of the entire season, I think.
I mean, Lord knows everybody's excited about him. And you know, I mean, every like Forsberg, he's got his new man crush. I saw Noah tweeting last night that she's ready to say some things that are gonna, you know, maybe I feel like we're gonna get some like LeBron comparisons to
no,
Jordan
he
Walker.
looks like baby Tatum. I'm telling you, he looks like baby Tatum.
All right, well, just to give people some of the numbers, and I know the numbers do not tell the story. It's the effort, the energy, the just frenetic presence on the floor and all of that. But some people like raw data, so let's give you some. For him individually, he has appeared in 19 games, 11 starts, 21 minutes per game, 7 points, about 5 rebounds, aggressive on the offensive glass, and assists. The turnover ratio is basically assist to turnover ratio 2-1, a steal per game, about half a block. In terms of the shooting stats, Walsh is at almost 60% shooting, 45.5 from three, 81% from the free throw line. And most notably, and you've tweeted about this, Greeny, the Celtics 9-2 since he entered the starting lineup. So it's, you know, he is, I don't know that sort of, and maybe I'm talking out of turn when I say this. I don't know that in an ideal world, he is a starter on a contending team, but maybe he's proving himself, you know, to be worthy of that. It's, you know, it's not like Oklahoma City, who's just, you know, the poster child for greatness in the NBA right now. It's not like every member of that starting five is a household, you know, bona fide superstar. Could Jordan Walsh, you know, emerge into being a player of that caliber, a guy that, yeah, he's not your Brown, he's not your Tatum, he's not your White, but damn it, he fits kind of thing. And so far, obviously, on this team, Greeny, we've seen it. So what has impressed you the most? You know, build upon, please, your baby Tatum comparison, and what do you look for out of him going forward?
I mean, it starts defensively. He's already one of the most versatile on-ball defenders in the entire NBA. Fact, like not debatable. We've seen him shut down all-star point guards. We've seen him shut down all-star wings. We just saw him hold Austin Reeves to without a made basket in 23 possessions. This is the guy averaging like 35 a game, and he couldn't score on Jordan Walsh. That alone tells me he deserves to see the floor for 30 minutes a night at a minimum. I even think if Tatum comes back this season, he needs to remain in the starting lineup for this season in this version of the roster. You can't miss having that positional versatility on the floor. The surprising part is the shooting. Like, he's shooting 48% on catch and shoot threes. He made like 3 or 4 of them last night. You watch him, he's confident when he gets the ball now. He knows what he has to do. He doesn't seem like he's out of control. And I think that is a result of getting more minutes, having positive moments on a court to help his confidence. And the small ball lineup has saved the big man situation because he rebounds. So you watch him play, his length, the way he moves, the way his shot looks, the way he dunks, it all looks like 19, 20-year-old Jason Tatum. I pull the clips and I put them side by side. They look identical. And I'll tell you, they both were born on March 3rd.
It's an important detail to mix in.
I think that seals the deal.
You know, their body types are the same. And he's had 3 years of going up against Tatum to develop into the net. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be, 5 straight all first, team NBA franchise player. But when you watch his body and how he moves, it looks a lot like how Jason Tatum looked and moved he's 21 years old. And this is what we're getting. What does he look like at 24?
Sure.
It's like, I don't know. The ideal situation for Jordan Walsh, I don't know what that looked like, right? We were all hopeful this was his opportunity to get real minutes and to show that, he's a real NBA player. I was just hoping he would play good defense, make the extra pass, and just, not look like he did in Summer League. What we're getting is something that is so beyond my wildest dreams. Did you guys see the Taylor Snow tweet where he's the first non-center in NBA history to have a 3-game sample of 94% shooting? This is the guy that couldn't get off the bench a month ago, and now he's the first player in the history of the NBA to do something. Is just, I can't explain it. I don't even know what we're witnessing right now. It's just so beyond what I even expected. And I own Jordan Walsh stock. I'm building an addition on my house via Jordan Walsh stock. And even I can't believe it. It's incredible.
I think this stuff,
by the way,
the stuff that gets me most.
I was going to say, to go back to the OKC thing real quick. Like, obviously, I'm not sitting here, SGA, Chet Holmgren, Isaiah Hartenstein, even certainly not Jalen Williams, but and these are not the same players. But in terms of sort of how he slides in next to some of these guys, like, can Jordan Walsh be your Lou Dort, your Cason Wallace, Bruce, that kind of thing? And, like guys who start but are lesser pieces. And on a contending team, maybe he can, obviously. But sorry, go ahead.
No, the stuff that gets me really excited is the stuff that the feel of the game stuff. Like there are 2 moments in the Lakers game on Friday night that I really liked. There was one, I believe it's in the first half, where gets the ball left wing in the left corner, and
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Puts a shoulder into a guy to get him off him, drives to the basket, pulls the guy out of the lane, and then just dumps it off for an easy dunk. I was like, that's freaking awesome for a 21-year-old. And then in the other half,
Tatum,
he's got a great play where I believe the Lakers are playing some sort of zone. It looked like a 3-2 zone at the moment, but zones kind of they miss and match, and they kind of rotate and do things. So it might have been a 2-3 zone, whatever. It was a zone. I just know that for a fact. So Jordan Walsh flashes to the middle of the zone like he's going to catch a pass, but he's only doing that to pull the defender off of Sam Hauser, because Sam Hauser is right next to him. So the defender comes down to guard Walsh in the middle of the zone, but it really opened up Hauser for a wide open 3, and Hauser absolutely buried it. So I was like, this is a guy who understands his particular gravity on the floor at this moment. And if I can just get this defender to come down a little bit, that's going to give him maybe the best 3-point shooter of the team, and a wide open shot at the on the left wing. That's the kind of stuff I get excited for. A bunch of things. The defense, obviously, it's like ridiculous, but the other parts of his game where it's like you either have it or you don't. This guy understands the flow and the feel of a game. And at 21 years old, to do this without playing with these guys, like he got a lot of G League run. We know that, but like not with the big club. Like this stuff that happened organically is like such a hit. It's
unbelievable.
I can't even believe it. And so, like we talk about building additions on your island for your your wall stock. It's like I don't even know. Like the ceiling is the roof. Like I don't know where we're going here, but it's the biggest development of the entire season. That Jordan Walsh is not only a good basketball player, he is now, to me, untouchable I know I'm never trading that guy. No way. Absolutely no way, because he's only going to get better from here.
I mean, you could make the case again. You could, hook the Kool-Aid right to your main line and say,
Oh, I totally am.
He's arguably one of the most important pieces of the next championship roster. And I'm not even kidding. Between the positions that he can guard, his salary price, and if he's going to be a high 30s 3-point shooter, like, okay, 48%, a little insane. So let's bring that back down to, a passable level. That is as valuable as a piece to the next version of this roster as a big man, as a backup guard, as any other position that they have. It allows you to say, you know what, Jaylen Brown, don't worry about guarding the other best player. We're going to sick this pit bull 7-foot wingspan guy, so he'll handle all of those miles. It saves the legs of your two most important players. It allows you to play small. He can fit with big lineups. I'm telling you, if he stays on this trajectory, he is the most non-Tatum and Brown asset on this roster when it comes to the next version of the team.
Kaufman, can I throw a comp at you? And Greeny, same to you. I've always thought Jordan Walsh, like, I'm not quite sure what he would be, but the high-end version of Jordan Walsh is like a Tayshaun Prince. And he just keeps getting a little closer and a little closer to that every single week. I'm not
what
trying
if he could be like Andre Kirilenko?
Yeah. I love AK-47.
I mean, that's a throwback.
You might have to YouTube his highlights, because he's like like early 2000s, mid 2010s.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah.
But like,
for the youngsters out there, definitely
like AK-47 ran shit in those days back in for the Jazz. And I don't know. It's just, you want to put a ceiling on it, but what we're seeing now, I never would have expected to be possible. So
I'm not ever going to put a ceiling on a 21-year-old, period. I don't care what he's doing out there. I'm not going to put, what I do want to see, obviously, is something that's more than an 11-game sample size, a few week sample size. And I think we all agree with that. Like you said, water's going to find its level to a certain degree, but what is this dude's, median range? And it's going to be really fun to see. One thing that we talked about, Ev, I don't remember when on this show. I mean, these all blend together. It could have been 2 weeks ago, could have been a month and a half ago. I have no idea. But one of the things that we said is, kind of a potential blessing in disguise to this Tatum situation in comparing it to that 2017-18 season was that obviously Hayward goes down, Irving goes down, and all of a sudden Brown, Tatum, not that anyone expected a run to the conference finals and coming, moments really away from reaching the NBA finals. But what we did get out of the year was younger players who you even then envisioned to be obviously part of your long-term core. I mean, look at the draft stock, obviously, both, third overall picks, all of that. But what we did look at was, okay, I mean, this sucks. Like, we wish we had a healthy Hayward and Irving, and this thing was kind of going according to plan and all that. But the upside is these younger players who are in their, Tatum's 19, Brown's 21, whatever it was. These guys are getting thrust into a situation that we never in a million years could have anticipated they would be in, which is only going to help them in the long term. And so we made that comparison, obviously, then, like earlier in this season or late in the offseason, whatever it was, to that year with some of these guys with, if like this is where we find out most importantly between Walsh, Shireman, Ugo, Minot, like all these, cheaper sort of back end rotational pieces as we envision them at the time, who's even part of the next iteration of the championship Celtics. That's the number one thing this team had to identify. And then once you feel like you've started to identify those guys, they're getting a sort of run and opportunity right now that with a healthy Tatum and a roster that doesn't turn over as much as it did, they never would have had, which is part of the reason why, a guy like Nesmith is playing somewhere else. There wasn't the window to kind of like make mistakes and grow and still get opportunity as you would on a middling, maybe even a bad team. So, I think One, it's been a lot of fun, especially like the Lakers blowout with no LeBron, no Luka, fine, whatever it is. Win's a win. It just feels good to beat the Lakers. The Wizards, they're trash. But, in the stretch prior to that, to end the Detroit winning streak, to, be competitive and almost win in Minnesota against a team that's gone back-to-back in the Western Conference Finals, to win at Cleveland, which a lot of people coming into the year, that's the team to beat in the East, to beat New York at home, a team that absolutely hates you. It doesn't matter what your roster looks like. It just loathes you. To beat all of these teams and play competitive with all of these teams says something about where this team could be going. Obviously, like, this is not fluky. One-offs are fluky. Like earlier this year, I don't know, what's a good example? Beating Cleveland the first time around at the end of October felt a little one-off, right? And neither team was at full strength for that game anyway. You go on a run like this, it's sort of announcing, okay, like, the East is pretty mediocre, and the Celtics can absolutely compete with this group. And by the way, if they get Jason Tatum, my God. If they make an addition in the front court, my God. Now, that's all to say we're still talking about the East. We're not talking about being able to knock off the juggernaut Thunder or even the Nuggets if they're healthy and teams like that in the West. We're just talking about coming out of the East. But you have got Toronto on Sunday in Toronto, a team that I'm not as high on, but no question the record has been good. The team has performed well. You're at Milwaukee. That should, in theory, be an easy win with no Giannis. But then you're back home. You got Detroit again. You got Miami, a team that is always going to be pesky. Toronto. You're like, this is still a pre-Christmas stretch of teams that are difficult. And if the Celtics Green just continue doing what they're doing, and all of a sudden, I don't know what the exact math is in terms of games played, but you're 6 games over 500 right now. If you're sitting 8-9 games over 500 at the end of this run, building upon what you're doing at the moment, I mean, like we said,
I did the math. I did the math yesterday.
Please go ahead.
I did the math yesterday. So I figured they were going to beat the Lakers because, why wouldn't you?
Right.
So I looked at it's like a 5-game set that you just rambled off, and then they go on for their first West Coast trip of the year, but they're playing all kind of bad West Coast teams like the Jazz, the Clippers, the Kings, blah, blah, blah. So it was an 11-game sample from last night through that West Coast trip. If they go 7-4 over those 11 games, that'll take them into like 36 games played right around on the season.
Sure.
They'll be on a 50-win pace through 36, 37 games if they go 7-4 over their next 11.
Takes you basically to the new year, a little bit deeper into that.
Yeah, so it's like they'll begin 2026
about that.
on a 50-win pace. Insane.
It's
I'm still regretting not putting the Celtics on during Christmas. I'll tell you that right now.
Would you?
Right.
I want to know what you guys think. Even though we saw him win 57 games after being named the head coach 30 seconds before the season, even though we saw him lead them to a title and one of the greatest individual seasons in NBA history, and then follow that up with 61 wins, this might be the most impressive Joe Mazzulla season of his Celtics career.
Not even close.
I don't think it's close.
I don't even think it's close.
It's unbelievable. My concern, we were all thinking, how are they going to survive offensively without their son that all things orbit around? They have the 3rd best offense in the NBA.
Yeah, it's not close. And again, because I figured we'd be talking about this, and our buddy Seth, who I mentioned before, who's been on the show obviously with us multiple times. I was, we were texting last night in the group thread there, Ev, and I'm finding it here. But I asked him because he's certainly a Mazzulla defender, and I think we're all Mazzulla defenders in our own way. And I discussed this very thing, and Seth said Joe gets no credit for this team playing a completely different strategical game this year.
Everything is different.
And I said, I agree, and it's unfortunate, and please tell me more. And he says, even I didn't realize they were fouling more than anyone in the league, basically. Last year, they never fouled, never generated turnovers, didn't get offensive rebounds, led the league in defensive rebounding. This year, with a totally different roster, They're last in defensive rebounding, but they're crashing the offensive glass. They're willing to trade fouls for turnovers. So what I'm saying really is that they are not dogmatic. He's coaching the roster that he has. And I think this is why he gets frustrated with all the threes discourse.
Yep. And I'm right there with him. And I will even add to that.
Please.
The Boston Celtics lead the NBA in mid-range field goals. They've not only slightly increased their number, they've gone from like 7 a game last year to 14 a game this year. They've doubled it. Okay. They've completely removed post-up offense from their arsenal. They don't post up anymore. Their isolation offense is down. Their off-screen offense is way up. They're taking more 2s than 3s in every game that they play. Basically, their 3-point attempt rate is down to 47% from 52% last year. The thing that people love to say, he doesn't make adjustments. All they do is chuck 3s. It's like you can't watch the 2025 Celtics and form that conclusion because nothing that they are doing on either end of they're picking up and guarding 94 feet every single possession. So when they started 0-3 or they shoot 53s and they lose to Utah and everyone's like, see, idiot Mazzulla, they can't play this way. This is so stupid. It's like, just take a second and understand what you are watching. Yes, there will be games like last night where they shoot 45 threes and they make 24 of them. But look at how they're generated. Look at how they're scoring. Look at how they're playing on offense. Nothing about this is similar to anything we have seen in the Mazzulla era. And he has to be the early on favorite for Coach of the Year because he's doing this without his best player. And he's doing it with guys that were literal career DNPs that he is now turning into rotation players that have the second best point differential in the conference. You're winning at a 50-win pace with players that couldn't get off the bench. Like,
I can answer, by the way, your
50-win pace with no center.
I'll answer your award comment just to pull up the Vegas odds for Coach.
I bet you he's not even top 3. I bet you he's not even in the top 3.
These are all of the guys that are listed ahead of Joe Mazzulla in the Vegas odds for Coach of the Year. Bickerstaff with the Pistons is the favorite.
Sure.
Dagnall, Thunder.
Why?
Darko, however I pronounce it, there with the Raptors. Spoelstra with the Heat. Mitch Johnson with the Spurs. Jordan Ott with the Suns. Ime with the Rockets. JJ in LA.
Like it's crazy.
Mosley with the Magic. Snyder with the Hawks. And then you get to Joe Mazzulla.
Like that's blatantly insane. Like that is the most insane thing I think.
What's the number?
30-1.
There's just no way. How is Mark Dagnall, who like they won?
Well, they're 22-1
last year.
They're 22-1.
Yeah, I mean, they've done most of it without their second best player.
So what? Where was Joe Mazzulla when the Celtics were winning 60-win pace after winning the title? Was he a heavy favorite? No, they said, "Oh, you have a super team. You have all this talent. Anybody could win with that roster." Why is it not the same?
Now, what I will say is I don't know how he is behind, and I'll just name the teams: Heat, Suns, Rockets, Magic,
Hawks.
The Magic one really got me fired up.
Hawks,
I'm not gonna lie you about that.
Honestly, JJ should be higher. Truly, if I'm removing.
Okay, you just went belt to ass on JJ. JJ had no answer.
He had no players.
Who's Luka Doncic guarding and locking up? That's preventing you from.
I'm not fighting against Joe. I'm not even saying Joe should be behind JJ. I'm just saying JJ should be higher on this board than where I read his name.
Okay, I'm a JJ guy, so fine. But even still.
Anyway,
what is it? What is it? Like he wasn't in.
His
first year he never got
not likable. Is that what it is?
Like,
is this a personal vendetta? Vegas.
I just don't understand. It's like you would think in year one, like that's the very definition of Coach of the Year because they won 57 games and he was name the coach 30 seconds before the season. Okay,
Yeah,
you don't
I
give
think
it
there
to
were
him
a lot
then.
of people though that I think there were a lot of people that looked at the roster the last couple of years, not this year, and said this is a roll the ball out and let him play situation. I'm not
So
saying
then why
that
is Mark
true.
Dagnall? So then why is Mark Dagnall in the top 3?
Again,
Do they not have a great
I think
roster?
I think there are double standards involved here.
Right?
go.
Like when the Celtics were having their historic season, we didn't hear about him being coach of the year. And I think the same thing was always true with Tatum's MVP case. How many times did we hear his teammates and the talent around him get used against them? Well, why does that not happen with any other player in the NBA?
Get it.
Those crazy anti-Boston media, I'll tell you.
I know. But we got Stark that Defensive Player of the Year award, though. We used all our.
I'm going home with something. That's right.
Yeah,
something. So Sunday afternoon, a matinee right in the middle of your NFL watch. But at least the Patriots don't play this weekend, so you got that going for you. Celtics at Toronto. Flip over from Red Zone and watch that for a little bit. 3:30 Eastern, and then don't play again until Thursday at Milwaukee. So, get through tomorrow, win that game, be healthy. Then you get yourselves a nice little kind of mini bye of their own, so to speak.
Yep. 3 games over 13 days or something crazy like that.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty nuts. But good. They've earned it. They're playing great. This is a fun show that we had here today. A lot of it's, in past weeks, I feel like we've gotten into some minutia with specific games. This was a good big picture edition of Celtics Beat, talking trades, bigs, achievement, and the MFing Boston Celtics are back, baby.
Back. I got people I'm seeing on Twitter are crying that the Celtics take too many threes and they're boring to watch. It's like, we're so back, I can't even handle it.
Back like they never left. All right. Barstool Greeny, as we know him. Get him on Twitter at Stool Greeny. And Evan Valenti. Again, I hope you can see him, but if you can't, we'll get that corrected for the next one. Ev, make a funny face for the people just in case they can see you.
Been doing it for the past 20 minutes, my guy.
I can only assume that you're doing it now. I can't tell. All right. Thanks, all of you out there. If you want the audio where you don't have to worry about seeing any of us, download Celtics Beat, subscribe, rate, review, all of that good stuff, wherever you get your podcast, the many, many platforms that we are available to you. And of course, if you do want the video for at least 2/3 of the show, you can check out the CLNS YouTube page, specifically the All Access page, for a lot of great Celtics-based content across the network. We thank you again. And next time we convene, 2 more games under the Celtics belts and hopefully a couple more wins for a 6-game streak as well. We'll talk to you soon. Enjoy your football Sunday.